Hello, everybody. Scott Haskin here, and I thought, I had some great comments made to me on my video that I recently did for transients and how to work with them, what they do, all that good stuff. And I thought another one that was kind of an issue for me trying to understand and figure out how to work. And every time I go to do it, I'm like, how do you set this up again? So I thought I would make a quick video on it. This is all about using a sidechain or ducking compressor. And we're going to use the one that I normally use, and then I have another one that I haven't tried yet, so maybe it would be fun to give that a whirl for the first time, in front of the entire world, which is always a good idea. Always works well. So basically what sidechain or ducking compression does is you put a signal inside of another signal to diminish the volume of that signal at certain points. Sounds confusing, right? Let me give you an example. Here we have a standard kick drum. Nothing fancy, just quarter notes, right? Simple. And here we have a pad. Nice, clean, straight pad, a little bit of oscillation in there, but pretty straightforward. So let's say that you wanted the pad to pump with that beat a little bit. You wanted to make it push a little more. And the pad itself, like you like the sound, but it just doesn't have that ability. You don't have any way to program that in or anything that you can change in the settings. And you want to give it a little bit of pump. What you could do is you could take that kick drum or any audio source. You could use a guitar, you could use vocals. But for this case, this is kind of common for dance music. You would take the kick drum and pump it into the pad and have that affect the pad. So let's see how we do that. The first thing that we need to do, this is our master bus here in the middle. And this is our master fader over here, but we need to add a bus to add the reverb or the compressor to, right? So we just need to add a new stereo bus. And then we need to add the compressor as an effect on the stereo bus. So we're just going to go into our audio effects. We're going to go into our dynamics. This is where I keep all the things. And we're going to go to the solid bus compressor. Now, the reason that I'm going to use this one is this is the one that I always use. But the reason that this one is particularly important is because of this right here. It has a sidechain capability. And without that sidechain capability, this doesn't really do any good. So you want to make sure that you turn that on. Otherwise, this whole exercise is fairly pointless. Next thing that you want to do is you want to figure out what signal you're pumping into the sidechain. This is what is going to affect the other track. So in this case, we want to use that kick drum. And to do that, we want to assign the output. Instead of it going to the master bus, we want to assign it to the compressor. So we're going to go ahead and select the compressor, the CA2A, that's not right, the solid bus compressor. I forgot I had that other one on there. So that now is going to pump its signal into the compressor. To make things a little cleaner, I'll just go ahead and put sidechain here as the title. That'll clean things up a little bit. I'm really big on labeling. I don't know why I didn't label this earlier, but in any case, so now we have the bass drum, instead of going to the audio feed, it's pumping into the compressor. So we can see the kick drum is active, but we're not hearing it anymore because it's not going into the main bus or the audio feed, it's going into the compressor. Now for us to be able to get that compressor to go into the pad sound, now we want to send this into the compressor, not into the compressor itself like we did for the kick drum, because that would just be putting it into the compressor, but we want to run it through that audio feed. So we're going to go ahead and select it to go, instead of the master, we're going to go through the sidechain, and now it should sound different. So you hear that kick drum is really affecting that, and that's what's going to give it that pumping sound. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Now, here's the other challenge. If you wanted to hear the kick drum along with the pad, Now, of course, we can't because we sent the sidechain the kick, so it's taking it away from the audio feed. Well, there's an easy solution to this. All you do is you just insert an extra audio track. You're going to copy. I don't have enough room up here, of course, because I made room down here. So what we're just going to do is we're going to label this as kick 2, and we're just going to take this right here. We're going to copy the kick drum audio, and we're going to put it onto this channel right here, and now we should be able to hear both. But it does kind of diminish the effect on the pad. So it's something that you have to play with a little bit. This pad, it's only going to have so much effect, and there may be other ways to do that. But this is a basic showing of how it works. Now, another thing that you can use this for is using dialogue over music. I have found that, like when I did my Haunted Holidays albums, it was kind of a challenge to get the voice to come through over the music without getting buried or without sounding like it was layered too far over the top. So what I did is I copied the dialogue onto another channel, and I ran that into the master bus so that it would diminish the music right where that dialogue was, bring it down just enough to leave a little bit of room for that dialogue track. And then, of course, I had the dialogue on another track where you could actually hear it. So that's a great way to do voice over music if you're doing commercials, if you're doing any kind of ad copy, voiceover for like a movie trailer, anything like that. You could use a ducking compressor to do that very thing. So that's the basics of it. But I'm curious because I have another ducking compressor that I've never tried. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and undo what we've done here. I'm going to go ahead and delete this kick track because it's not relevant to what we're going to do right now. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this compressor because we're not going to use it. We're going to try something different. So here we are back to basically the beginning. Now this has gone to the master bus. So the kick should be back in the audio feed. And there it is, because there's no compressor to send it into. The audio out is still going to the bus D here regardless, because just because there's no effect on it, it's still routed to send the audio there. So that's not going to change. But since there's no compressor to send it into, that's been deleted, it defaults back to the master bus for the kick drum. So let's go ahead and find our other ducking compressor. This one is specifically designed for ducking, and so I have it under ducking. I keep the other one under compressor because I also use it as a compressor. So this is one of those things where if I had two places to put it, I might put it under both, but I only get one shot, so I put it under compressor. But this one is under ducking. It's called Duck. I've never used this. I don't think I've ever booted it up before. But now let's go ahead and reroute our kick drum back to that, because that's where that needs to go. So we go back into Duck right here, and let's just give it a whirl off the top and see what we got. Well, that's very powerful. I mean, we're getting way more power out of this, even at halfway, than we were fully on the other compressor. So this is much better for ducking. Boy, I wish I'd have known that before. And it looks like you can change things. So let's say, let's try the half and see how that sounds. Now, this is without changing any settings, guys. I mean, all I'm changing is the amount right here. I'm not changing anything else. So we've got a lot of options to play with, but even just the basic to show you the example of what a ducking compressor can do, this thing is fantastic. Let's just try, what should we try? Let's change it to, I think an eighth is going to be too much, but let's give it a shot. Okay, that's actually not too bad. And maybe you just want that for certain sections. You could probably record the programming on this and change it from, an eighth to a half or a quarter or whatever. 16th is probably going to be a little crazy. Let's give it a shot. I'm curious. Okay. Well, you know I got to do it. I got you here. We got to check out 30-second notes. And this is at a tempo of 128. Probably not a huge amount of use for that, but something that you could do. Let's see what triplets sound like. Okay, not too bad. So we'll go back to the quarter notes. That's the basic of how the kick drum works. So now that we can define this a little bit more, let's try our other experiments again. So let's insert an audio track, and we will take the kick drum and we'll copy it over to our new track. We'll call this drum 2. Let's lower the volume a little bit at first, and we can always bring it up. That is pretty cool. I really like this. This is Duck. I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe I got this at pluginboutique.com. They have a ton of great plugins. They have some free plugins to get you started that are actually pretty decent. And then they sell plugins anywhere from a couple of dollars all the way up to, full, huge, several $100 prices. But they have sales all the time. I highly recommend going to their site, and I'll put it in the show notes, pluginboutique.com. But show notes, I'm saying it as if I'm doing a podcast. I'll have it on the YouTube page, pluginboutique.com. Go check them out. They're one of my staples when I'm looking for something. They're one of the first places that I visit for plugins. They do have virtual instruments as well. I've gotten a lot of great stuff there, but I don't really shop for virtual instruments a whole lot these days because I have so much that I don't even use. I haven't even dug into, and I've got, millions of sounds, literally millions of sounds in my arsenal. I don't even know what they are. So I don't typically go looking for new instruments unless there's something specific I need and I don't think I have or can't find it in all of that mess. So it's another great stop. But for certainly for effects, limiters, compressors, everything that you could want, it's there. Go check out Duck too, because this is pretty cool. I kind of wish it had maybe a little bit more fun of an interface, because with a thing like Duck, you could integrate a duck into this somehow, maybe make it a little more fun. But if you're showing off to people like in a video like this, it's probably better to have something that looks professional, and this looks really good. The other thing too that's going to make a difference is the level on your fader. I didn't get into this, so let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and mute the drum track, and we're just going to get the pad in here, and let's see what difference this makes on the sound. So it really does just work as a volume, and you can set your out here, your master. So that's going to work as a little bit of a limiter, but you can also change the pattern too. But it looks like these are controllable. So let's say that we wanted to do this. Not bad. And let's put the kick drum back on that. So there's more features that I'm not going to get into because this isn't a video on Duck, but certainly something to play around with. This is a great ducking compressor. It gets right to the point without a lot of hassle, but mainly what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you the process of how to route it and what you can do with it. And again, it's great for dialogue use as well. Obviously very good for club music. This could be a track that's very up front. It could also be a track that's in the background. I'm just using it to play off of a pad, which is just the easiest way to give an example since it's a clean sound. If I were to use it on a piano, you'd have to have that continual strike of the key to get audio. So I thought a pad would be a good way to show it, but you can use it on any audio signal. It's just a matter of where it's going to be affected and what kind of sound you're going to get out of it for your project. So play around with it, have fun. This is something that you can really dig into and do all kinds of things with. You could put other effects on the channel as well. You could put a distortion on it. You could do all kinds of things. So this was basically just here's kind of how to do it and what it is video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something. I certainly did on my own video, which is always fun. So I don't know when I'll be back with another audio tip video. They just kind of, I just kind of do them when something comes to me and I feel like this would be something good to cover. So if you guys have something that you want me to cover, feel free to reach out and let me know. You can leave a comment in this video and I'll get a notification, or I should get a notification that a comment's been left, and I'll see if that's something that I can dig into. In the meantime, you guys take care, stay safe and warm, and take care of each other. Talk to you soon. Cheers.